our hearts align. In brighter dreams.
Hi everybody. Now I think I just heard a hawk. I hope that is not a hawk. Hi everybody. It's so great to see ya. Let me send my dad a text message real quick. Today is Friday, y'all. We're doing the Arkansas Travelers Block. I'm going to send my dad a text real quick because they're in their house. Y'all hold on a second. I'm not going to get up and run out there, but I'm going to ask him to go check. Oh, where is he? Here we go. Of course, right when a live happens. Y'all, it is windy today. Can you check to see if there's a hawk out back? I'm live, but think I heard one. Okay. The Arkansas Traveler Tiny Block. Hi, everybody. It's so great to see you. Let me hook this back up here. As soon as I hit the live. And where did I go? Here we go. Hi, everybody. Okay, so focus, Lisa. My dad's going to go check, so we're all good. The Arkansas Travelers Block. Y'all, this is the last week that we are doing paper piecing for a little minute. Okay, I have three tiny blocks that are set up for applique, raw edge applique, which is my jam. And yeah, I'm super excited about that. And I know that some of you don't prefer paper piecing, so maybe you'll really enjoy doing the next 3 blocks. Hi, everybody. Okay, so before we get started, Patreon members, are you excited? This is the first time we're doing this, a week-long quilt retreat starting on Sunday, and we're going to meet in the evenings between 7 and 10 p.m. I plan on knocking, see all those shirts right there? I am knee-deep in the beginning parts of a t-shirt quilt that I want to knock a lot of it out next week. But I'm also really busy next week, so I'll be using those 3 hours every night to start making some progress on that t-shirt quilt. Connie, absolutely. You do not have to sew on the line. There's many different ways of doing foundation paper piecing. Back in the day, I used to fold on the line, right? You can absolutely do that. You don't have to sew through the line on any of these. Yeah, 7 to 10 each evening, Sunday to Sunday, a whole week. And also, I know Miss Wanda's watching. I just want to say hi to Gracie. Gracie, hello. Hi, puppy. Ask Mommy to give you a treaties. Also, if you're working on the Mariner's Compass quilt, I am working on Circle 5's video. So probably not this weekend, probably first part of next week. You can expect that from me. And that'll give you the weekend, you know, if you're busy like I am, to sew on all of these parts before we tackle circle number 5. Yeah, and next week we're doing applique. That's exciting. That's my favorite. So let me come down here. Absolutely, Connie. You can definitely fold on the line instead of sew on the line. Any of these tiny blocks, even going back to Sunday Stars, if that was a quilt you wanted to do, you can fold on the line instead of sew. I transitioned somewhere along the line from years ago when I used to fold it to now sewing on the paper. Wanda says she's going to give her a treat. Good. Bless her little heart. Let's come down here to my desk. Here's the pattern, y'all. The Arkansas Traveler's Tiny Block. I really like that. Don't you? It doesn't even really look the same as just one single block, does it? It looks very different down here, and I really, really like that. So if you wanted just to repeat the block without the little borders, here's an example of what your quilt would look like. I just want to thank my moderators today. I'm a little scatterbrained, y'all. Let me tell you, and I knew not to start this project before the live today, but I did it anyway. I came up with a design for a shirt that included a saying and then some applique. And I got through almost all of it. The position stitch had stitched down the fabric, and I was trimming the fabric in the hoop. And I got to the very last letter, which is a J that has a little hole in the middle of the letter, and I cut right through my shirt. I was so mad. I was so mad. So now I got to start all over again. And I'll probably cut my letters out on the scan and cut. So Terry says she did a short video on folding on the line and not stitching through it. Yeah, that was the way I used to do it. I don't know why I transitioned somewhere along the way I did. So let's take a look at this pattern, right? You have your instructions. I'm going to walk you through it. You have your foundations. They all fit on one page. And this week we have several little foundations, right? 2 foundations make a block, which we will have 4 blocks in the end, which will come together like a 4 patch, right? So for each block, you have 2 different pieces. I've already done some pre-work. Y'all, last week took me forever to do last week. So I did a little bit of pre-work because this block, you're making 4 little thimbles, right? Well, they look like thimbles. I have my backing and my batting ready. I have my little border strips ready. And I've already made 3 of these, right? There's going to be 2 dark and 2 light, which will come together like that. And we're going to make this one together. Thank you, Terry. Okay, so, and that's this right here. We're going to be making this one together. There's also a page of templates for pre-cutting your fabrics if you like to do that like I do. And you have your little map which tells you where all of these templates get used in the block. So I've already cut my fabrics for today. I've got those. And I don't need that. Yes, I was almost done with that. I wanted to wear it today in the live. I was so bummed when I cut right through that shirt. That's frustrating. So here's one block, but it's actually 2 different foundations, right? So I'm going to just separate that like so. Spools. What did I say? What did I say? I thought I said spools. I probably didn't though. So this is one foundation and this is the other. And it comes together like that. See that? All right, so let's go ahead and get started with this. Y'all, there is a numerical order on these. But when I drew this out in EQ8, it automatically assigned numbers. And let me just show y'all. On the other ones, I didn't follow the same numerical order. The order in which EQ8 assigned, your first fabric is here, 2 and 3, and then 4. I'm placing down this big one first. right side up. And same with this one right here. 1, 2, 3 is what is on the foundation, but I'm going to start with 1, 2, 3. Do I have suggestions for making it a full-size quilt? I do not. Not the way that I am doing it with the turned edge. You would have to blow up the pieces so big. So big. I just don't know of an easy way of doing that. My suggestion would be to actually purchase a pattern that is for a bed size Mariner's Compass quilt, and they've already done the work and broken it down even further than what I have, right? Instead of a chunk that has 7 pieces on it, you might have a chunk that has 2 because it's bigger, right? That would be my suggestion. Okay, so let's come right here. We're going to flip this over, and instead of going to the light pad because it's so wonky with my camera, one day I'm going to sit down and figure out the right settings for my camera to use that, because I think it's very helpful. But can you see those lines through the paper a little bit like that? We're going to center this first fabric on both foundations. Donna suggested this block. I'm not sure if I told y'all or not. We're going to center this fabric right over top and press. And press. And then I'm going to flip it over here just like this. And I'm going to use my add a 1/4 inch ruler because it has the beveled edge on it. And we're going to trim some fabrics, okay? We're going to fold on the line and trim away, leaving just 1/4 inch. If it's helpful for you to use the add a 1/4 in the way that it's intended to be used, by all means, do that. It's just quicker for me to eyeball it, but watch this. If you're unsure, fold that paper and flip the ruler. I forget who now asked me to do that. So I'm going to just show you. But it's much faster for me to just eyeball it. It has a little lip that catches that fold right there. Okay. So now I want you to just pay attention. This is a light block, right? And then there's 2 that are darker. And it's really hard to tell on the camera, see that? But you're going to do 2 that are dark, I've already done them, and 2 that are light. And you don't have to use the same fabrics like I did, right? This could be a dark red. This could be a dark blue. This could be a light green. And the other one could be a light yellow, right? Something like that. All right, so now we're going to bring in these little fabrics. It's the bee template, these little tiny triangles. And I'm going to bring this over to the sewing machine, and we're going to stay there for a minute because the seams don't meet in the middle. There's some space there. So I can line these up like this. And I chain pieced the other 3 little blocks, and they went together pretty quickly. See that? Here is the long side of the triangle, and we're flipping it. And what you should have is there's the point top of the triangle. It should be a mirror image of that right there. what if you put the compass in the middle and the borders around it? You could certainly do that. You'd have to add a lot of borders to make a bed-size quilt, right? This compass measures like 19 inches round. You'd have to add a lot of borders, but you could certainly do that, right? You could. All right, let's come on over to the sewing machine and let's do that. I'm hoping that this sewing machine camera lasts me through the live because it's been giving me trouble this week and it's making me nervous. All of a sudden it freezes up and stops working, and I'm pretty sure it's because it's on a really long cord and maybe I need a new cord. I don't know what's going on, but hopefully it doesn't stop working. We're going to bring both of these pieces right on over here, and I'm going to lower my stitch length. And we're going to start with this one right here, right? I don't need that one yet. And we're going to start sewing off of the paper. And we're going to come right here. And usually I just do a stitch or two beyond that line and then rip the paper when we have to fold this long line, right? But here lately, I've just been doing some back stitches. I meant to put on my open toe foot because I can see so much better. Let me do that before we move on. I think you can see much better too. All right, now see that space right there? We don't have to worry about this seam being in the way. So I'm going to go ahead and just bring in the next little triangle while we're right here. And with that light right behind my sewing machine, you can see through that paper, right? But because we trimmed first, we really don't have to. We can match up that raw edge right there and sew this next piece. Woo! I have my slippers on and I have horrible foot control with the speed foot pedal with my slippers on. It is so cold in here today. I don't know about you, but I drive much better barefoot. All right, so that's the first two pieces on the bigger foundation, right? While we're right here, instead of flipping back and forth, we're going to bring in the smaller foundation. So there's the first seam. And now we can line up the triangle for the next one. All right, let's come over to the pressing board. Yes. And I need to heat up this iron, y'all, because it's been asleep. I do. I drive so much better barefoot. Catherine, your open toe foot broke. Oh no, can you get another one? That's a stinker. We're going to give that iron just a second just to warm up. I'm going to clean up this mess. What I want to do is just set those seams when the iron warms up. It is so cold in here today. Yesterday was lovely. I mean, it was a little on the chilly side, but it was warmer than today. And today has been windy and cold. All right, I'm just going to set these seams nice and flat. And then I'm just going to fold over those fabrics, do a little finger press, and then I'm going to iron them. I still have this really great desire to just rearrange this whole working setup, which means I need to move the big box of my computer that way. And I just don't have time for that. All right, I'm going to scoot that off and let that cool down. And we're going to press this one. Do y'all have a pressing board? I made this pressing board a long time ago. I have another one, a bigger one, over there near my Cricut Easy Press. It's right here next to me, right? I have a little workstation right here. It's very convenient. I feel very efficient, right? We're gonna let that cool off for a second. Someone commented on my pressing board video, almost implying that I was lazy because I didn't want to get up and walk to the iron, which is better for quilt block making. Because of the holes in the ironing board. Silly. All right, we're going to come back over here. And this piece, the littlest piece, is finished, right? It only had 3 little fabrics for it. So we're going to set that off to the side. This other one has 1 more fabric that we need to add. Before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and trim up the extra fabric right along this line here. And I'll flip my add a 1/4 inch ruler over and do that. I'm feeling a little spicy today too. Okay, so we have 1 more fabric to add, and that's from the C template. And it's gonna go just like so. Just like that. Mimsy, you're right. No matter what I do, what I say, there's always going to be someone that does not agree. Beverly said, when you use your open toe foot, what do you use to get the 1/4 inch seam? I usually switch back over. So I like using my open toe foot when paper piecing because I can see the line very easily, right? You'll see here in a second. But I also struggle to get an accurate 1/4 inch seam allowance using my open toe foot. The open toe foot really, I don't think, was designed to sew 1/4 inch seams. It's really great for sewing applique because you can see where the edge of the fabric is, right? It's great for doing a satin stitch and things like that. And it gives you great visibility when doing those things. But I am a firm believer that if you want an accurate 1/4 inch seam allowance, you should switch the foot away from an open toe foot. And also, you'll see that once I'm done sewing this line, I'm going to take the open toe foot off, because when I go to piece these, my open toe foot, it's different on my Juki. The Juki one was a little bit closer together, but still open. But on this one, the pieces want to slide to the left, right? And I really struggle trying to sew pieces together with my open toe foot. So I'll switch it here in just a second. Okie dokie. See how wide that space is? That's fantastic if when you're doing something you really want to see what you're doing, right? But it does not give you much space for it to grab on these sides right here, right? So I feel like sometimes things just slip around too easily. All right, we're going to come over to the pressing board. We have this one last seam to press, and then we're going to be trimming up these blocks. Now, this has gone by pretty quick, right? But you're going to do this 4 times. I've already done some work today to get these pieces to this point. Pressing. Yes, that was so sad about Donna Jordan. I didn't even realize that she had been sick. That's what I was just thinking this week. You know what? I complain that it's cold or it's windy, it's cold in here, you know. Every day is a gift, right? And I was saying, you know what? No matter what our situation is, no matter how bad we're feeling in the day or whatever's going on, every day is a gift. And we don't know how many we have, and we should at least find something to be grateful for that day, right? That's so sad. We're going to come here. She taught so many people, didn't she? She has left such a wonderful, wonderful legacy, that's for sure. Now all of our pieces are on the big foundation. We're going to go ahead and square this up, and we're going to square up and trim away all the extra on that small one too. Y'all are going to hear some rattling on my little vent fan over there because it is so windy. The little vents. I have a vent fan over top of my heat press for doing sublimation work. And it vents right outside. But when it's windy like this, the wind goes up underneath those little flaps, and I don't notice it anymore. I've gotten really used to it, but sometimes when I watch my videos back, or, you know, I hear it in the background, I'm like, that is annoying. That's what that little noise is sometimes. At least Poppy's being really good so far today. Look how perfect that is. I'm going to tell you, over this past year since doing Sunday Stars, I've really developed a love for paper piecing. I really have. There's no way. Well, I mean, I guess I could, but I really don't want to measure out and cut little triangles for piecing. No, thank you. Not when I can do it this way and they turn out so perfect, right? So these two pieces are going to come together just like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this done. And you're going to see now is when I'm going to switch over back to my regular foot. I'm still keeping that really tiny stitch length though. But this foot grabs those layers of paper and fabric much better. So we have our two pieces right there, and we're going to flip right sides together, and we're going to match it up as perfect as we can. And we're sewing right on that inside line. See me going nice and slow. All right. We're going to come here for a second, and I'm just going to take that paper out of the seam only. And this seam, when you look at it, it's got two fabrics coming in that way, but nothing on that way. So when you open it up, it's going to want to go towards that bigger foundation, and I'm just going to let it. I'm going to just do a little finger press like this, and I'm going to press that seam right there. Do you have an Amazon store set up with all your recommendations? I do, but I haven't updated it in a long time. I appreciate that. I do have I don't know that I have my store linked. Like if you open the description box and you scroll all the way to the bottom, my store link might be there, but just to let you know, I haven't updated it in like 4 or 5 years because I forget that I have a storefront there, or you know, a page of all of my favorite stuff. So much to do all the time. Okay, look how perfect that is. Let me clean up all of these tidbits. because now what we're going to be doing is sewing this little 4 patch together, and that makes the entire block. So for me, what I need to pay attention to is to make sure these little thimbles are going in the right direction. That I don't flip any of them. So here I have my 2 dark ones going this way and the light ones going that way. See that? So let's flip this over. And let's flip this over. And we're going to just chain piece both of these right over there. Okay? Darlene says, and don't forget about your Caterpillar discount. She says that, but then she asked me, she told me, okay, so y'all, funny story real quick. Darlene ordered a Caterpillar, but from a different website. And I was starting to get mad with Caterpillar, like, where is Darlene's light pad, right? I don't even see her order in there. And she ordered it several times and canceled the order because it was never shipping, or they canceled the order. It wasn't through my link. I was getting ready to write them one heck of an email too, Darlene. Yes, I do have a link for my Caterpillar in the description box of pretty much all of my videos now. Use the link. She's so funny. Darlene, I hope you're going to be at the quilt retreat some coming up. All right, we're going to take this and we're going to line these up exactly on the line, or, you know, perfectly. And we're going to sew right on the line. I was getting mad too, let me tell you. All right. I'm going slow. All right, there's the first one. All right, so my deal is I like to keep it as real as possible with y'all. And I'm pretty much an open book for the most part. I try to be very transparent. This is the first time I've ever made this block. Tiny. We did it big one time. But this is the first time I'm making this. So I'm going nice and slow. But I was just thinking, I don't know how we're going to press these seams. That's why I'm saying that. So what I'm going to do is take the paper off. And we're going to study it. Because I don't have an answer yet. We're going to figure it out together. All right, there's those little nuggets of paper, and let's do this one. I don't know how many of y'all are on TikTok or not. You might have seen it on Instagram too, and you might have seen it on Facebook. But the viral crab legs from Sam's Club, the ones that are the imitation crab legs that look like real crab legs, and all the videos rave about them tasting just like real crab legs. I don't think they taste just like crab legs. They're a lot cheaper than crab legs, which is fantastic for my budget, but I don't think they taste just like crab legs. They taste okay, but not just like crab legs. Darlene, you are so funny. It's okay. I'm just glad I didn't email them blasting them. Okay, let's open this up and let's take a look. It's coming together like a 4-patch, right? And I already can see dark block, light block, light block. See how that seam just wants to go this way? And this seam wants to go that way? And I think that'll be lovely because that means the middle seam is going to nest. Because we're going to have some thickness right there anyway, right? Let's nest those seams. Let me give them a press. I knew we'd figure it out. And let's press this one. I think it was last week. It's hard to tell looking at the camera, but that's that light green fabric. Don't you think it looks really good with brown? See that? Last night I posted a little fabric haul. I sped it up because I was there for actually a good little minute, but I sped it up. When I go back to being big, you'll see all the fabric folded behind me. I got my order from Marshall Dry Goods in yesterday. All right, so there we are. We have one more seam to finish this block. And we're going to turn it right side together. And since we pressed to the light side, we have nesting block or nesting seams. See that? They're going in opposite directions. We're going to go ahead and go back to the sewing machine. And this will be easy to line up because I'm just going to catch that seam right there. I say that and then I struggle. I knew I felt something funny. That little seam caught that lip right there. So now let's come back here. Oops, not that camera, this one. Let's take this paper right out of that seam. See, and if you're sewing next to the paper fold, you don't have to do this part, right? Iron Stitches says, I wonder how this block would look with dark reds and light beige background. Beautiful. It would look so pretty. All right, let's open this up. Now, if you're one who loves to spin your seams and you're really good at it, now would be the time to do it. We have some bulk right there, right? I'm not good at that. And let me make a plan for what I'm going to do. Especially these stitches are really tight together. So if you wanted to unpick some to press this seam open, right, and spin that seam, you'd be there a hot minute. I am going to, it wants to go this way, so that's what I'm going to do. And I'm not going to stress out over it. That's what I'm doing. I think the dark reds with a cream or beige or a tan background would be so pretty. Same with dark blues and a light tan or beige background would be really pretty too. I was really trying to do that with the dark blues and a lighter background. But I'm working with all of my tiny blocks. I have a basket of scraps right behind me, and I have a little bin of scraps down here. And I'm just trying to use up these scraps with these tiny blocks instead of cutting into yardage and stuff like that. And I just didn't have any blues that really went together well. Do you know what I'm saying? I wanted to do this block in blues. But I think this is really pretty too, because I'm really into the browns. All right, we're a little cockeyed right there, but isn't that pretty? So pretty. Let me go ahead and start picking these papers off, y'all. We haven't quite been here an hour, and that's because I did some work ahead of time. I think we'd still be sewing foundations had I not done that. But since it's not been an hour, let's go ahead and add the borders on. I was just trying to think if there were any other news updates that I could share with you. I saved myself $26 before coming on the live because I reconsidered the stabilizer I was using on the first shirt that I messed up. I was using like a medium weight cutaway, but the t-shirt I was embroidering on is very light. So I was rethinking that, and I looked up and it suggested that I use a poly mesh or like a no-show mesh, right? I was like, well, now I got to order that. So I have it in my shopping cart on Amazon. And then I was like, it's not going to get here till Monday, but I don't want to wait till Monday to make this shirt. So years ago, when I first got my Bernina embroidery machine, I got all kinds of stabilizer. And then I stopped embroidering because it really wasn't fun for me with that machine. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to go check all that stabilizer that I haven't used in years. And sure enough, I have a whole roll of it. So I don't have to wait till Monday, and I don't have to order any right now because I have 25 feet of no-show mesh. I'm glad I checked. All right, so there's all my little tidbits. And here's my block. I'm going to give that a press just one more time. I feel like I ruffle up those seams just a little bit. Connie says, my expensive ripper is working so well. Catherine, that's funny that you mentioned fruitcake. I looked up a recipe for fruitcake cookies the other day. Have you ever made fruitcake cookies? I love those things. Okay. There's my block, and we're going to bring in some borders. And I'm going to add my first two like normal, right? I'm using this fabric right here. I think that looks nice. We're going to add them there and there. And I'm going to straighten up that little wonkiness, right? Like so. Which means now let's switch over to a 1/4 inch seam allowance and bring this right on over. I don't know why I bothered lining that up on my desk. I have to realign it when I come over here. Just to let y'all know, we have asparagus popping up. Actually, I say popping up. It's about, some of it is about that tall. I'm going to cut a few pieces for supper. I love asparagus. We're going to press these two seams. Devi, you still haven't found those little pokey tools at the dollar store. I should put them in my Etsy shop. It's funny how Dollar Trees will have different things from each other, isn't it? Now I'm just going to trim up the little extra nuggets right here. And then we're going to add the last two borders. All right. Now, the way that I'm doing it, y'all, is the same way I've been doing it all along in this series. I'm going to sew one all the way. And I'm going to sew another one and leave the opening somewhere along there, right? All right, this one is the one we're going to leave the opening. Remember to backstitch when you stop and then when you start again. Y'all should really hear this new song that I wrote last night. I used the Donna app, but in the app there's this section where you can actually write the song and it'll put it to music with a person singing it, right? A person singing it. But you can actually write the lyrics. So I've been playing around with that. And I wrote a song about paper piecing and glue basting, sewing all night. I just added a little glue there before I fold this over. See how it holds that nice and pretty like that? And now I'm going to press these seams and I'll just do it over here. A scalloped edge border. I've admired those for years. My aunt had a quilt that she made with a scalloped edge border and it was so pretty. I've never done one though. Cheryl said she would buy one if I had it in my Etsy shop. I'll check into seeing. I think we can sell craft supplies on Etsy. I think you can. The only stinker thing about it is, y'all, is I pay $1.25 for it, but then you have to pay for shipping, and I would add the cost of the fees in there, so like I'm not losing money on a pokey tool set, but it would end up costing you like $6 by the time you paid the shipping and stuff. Check all your dollar stores near you. I don't want to charge you $6 for a pokey tool that you can get for $1.25. Isn't that so pretty? Look at that. Now we're going on just an hour, so I think I'll finish this up probably this weekend, but I wanted to add the borders on there because I think it sort of just finishes it, right? Isn't that so pretty? I'll hold it up close. I got a fuzzy bit. couple of them. There we go. That really doesn't look like a pale green, but it is. It's much prettier in person. I have fuzzy bits all over the place today. Yes, I think that's so pretty. So thank you, Donna, for suggesting the Arkansas Travelers block. I hope you have a lot of fun with it. Let's come back here so you can admire my little fabric folded nice and pretty behind me. Next month, the very beginning, I'm hoping, I hope that I can jump on it pretty quick. I still have the Rudy quilt that I want to make with the rooster. And this fabric here is going to be for the bunny quilt. I don't think I brought that in, a picture of it. Have y'all seen the picture of the bunny quilt? Let me see if I can add it real quick. Give me just a second. I had to order fabric from Marshall Dry Goods for a quilt back for the t-shirt quilt that I'm starting. So I said, well, if I'm going to order fabric from Marshall Dry Goods, I might as well get fabric for the bunny quilt coming up. Let me find this little picture. Here we go. Isn't that cute? This is not huge, y'all. I forget the measurements and I don't have it written down near me. But it's not humongous. It would be perfect as a centerpiece on a table. It's a little rectangle. It's not square, right? It's a little longer than it is wide, but it still would be so cute as a centerpiece for a table. Raw edge applique and simple piecing. And a little satin stitch for the bunny whiskers, right? How much yardage did I get? Let's see. I got 108 wide fabric for the quilt back for the t-shirt quilt. There was 3 yards of that. And then everything else is a 1 yard cut, except for there was one. There's 2 that feel like I didn't measure it out. I didn't open it up and measure it out. It feels like 2 yards. So I don't know if I ordered 2 yards by accident of 2 of them. But it was supposed to be 1 yard cuts of everything else. I love that bunny quilt. It's so pretty. But before we do that, I'm really hoping to do this. I really want to do this, and I keep talking about it. This has a home in my living room as soon as I make it. Devi says, I think you bought enough fabric for a lot of bunnies. Let me just tell you, when I went to Marshall Dry Goods, some of these fabrics were $2.99 a yard. Can you believe that? How can you beat that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of those fabrics right there were on sale for $2.99 a yard. How could you pass that up? And a couple of them were $3.99 a yard, and several of them were $4.99 a yard. Now I did get some that were $7.99 a yard, because I just couldn't pass that up either. Really, $7.99 is still a really great deal. But these are nice fabrics too. Henry Glass, Quilters Calicos, RJR Fabrics, Robert Kaufman, Andover Fabrics, Grudge Paint, Tonal Steel Gray. That was the quilt bag. Bloom, Confetti Florals, Dream Cotton. Really nice fabric, right? Can you believe? The Quilters Calico was $2.99 a yard. That's a great price. That's a lot of cuts of fabric. They were probably like, oh, Lisa Capen is ordering again. It's going to take us forever to cut 1 yard of everything. What was the shipping? Free. If you order over $80, there's a $60 or $80. I forget what the amount is. You get free shipping. So I got free shipping. Good deal, right? Let's see. For the 108, I ordered the Grunge Paint Tonal Steel Gray, $9.99 a yard. Now, you know, the prices vary depending on what you get, right? They have some 108 that's more than that, but the one I ordered was $9.99. That's a great price too. Sharon said pre-cuts will work also. For the bunny quilt, absolutely. Except for the big bunny. Nope. I think I'm wrong about that. I think the big bunny on this quilt, you could use the one with the blue background. I believe a fat quarter would work for that. The good news is that quilt there should come up pretty quick. I'm going to use my scan and cut to cut all the applique. And then turn on some music and sew. And just chill out and relax while I'm doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that sounds like a fun time to me. All right, everybody. The Arkansas Traveler's Block. I hope y'all have had fun paper piecing. I hope you've learned a lot, and I hope that you've gotten better. Like if you just started paper piecing along the way and making these blocks, it's much easier now, right? I think we've done plenty of practice. It should start to get easier from here on out. I really like that. Don't you? That looks white, but it's a light green. Even if it was white, that would be really pretty, don't you think? I'm going to finish this as a plant mat for my studio tour coming up in November. That's the plan for that one. I hope y'all have a really good weekend. Devi said, are there any more shorts in our future? Yes, ma'am. I have 2 that me and Harlan have been practicing on. Y'all, a lot of people on Facebook get mad when I post those shorts. Like, I don't know why everybody's so mad on Facebook all the time. Like, they're just mad over there. Or grumpy or having a bad day or a bad couple months. I don't know. But I post the shorts over on Facebook and people get mad at me. I'm going to do it anyway. But yeah, I have 2 that we've been practicing on. I think they're hilarious. Some people don't think they're going to be that funny. Stacy said, plant mat, back to house plants. No, ma'am. I will kill a house plant in a second. The plants that do the best are the ones that live outside in the garden. Those are doing really great. We planted peas last weekend. No, I have a studio tour coming up in November, and I have to have at least $3,000 worth of purchasable merchandise or pieces that can be acquired. I guess that's the more appropriate language for a studio tour. Anyway, so everything that I'm making that I'm not giving away or that is for somebody, I'm saving it up for the studio tour. So I was going to make a little quilt with all of these, and I was going to stitch them together. That was my plan. But then I got into the studio tour, so now my plan is changed. I'll have a whole bunch of these. I have a big stack of them so far. So they'll be here for the studio tour. Jean says, the short you posted on YouTube, one where you are bent over, waving your arms around, is so funny. Which one was that? I was bent over, waving my arms around. I don't remember that one. I'm glad you thought it was funny, though. Stacy said, Facebook is toxic. I really go on it. I'm gonna say this. I have a love-hate relationship with Facebook. I love that I can get in touch with all of my family that's there if I need to. And I have a community of friends who are there on a regular basis, and I can stay up with them, right? But if I just turn on Facebook and just start scrolling, for one, I don't see hardly any posts from people I'm friends with anymore. I don't know why not. But I don't. But I have two Facebook accounts, right? I have my personal one and I have my business one. And so I mainly stay on my business Facebook page. And I really like that because I can post updates. Like I'm doing this t-shirt quilt. I'm going to post updates of it being made because she is really excited to see it come together, you know? And it's an easy way to share. I love that about Facebook. But just posting the short videos on my business Facebook page, people are in no mood to see it. And they don't mind telling me that. What about the tiny? Okay, so Sharon, I am still doing the tiny house block quilt. You know, on Patreon, we're getting together one Sunday a month, and we're sewing a tiny house. That quilt I'm keeping for myself. I am. But all the tiny blocks, all the different ones we've made, those are going to be plant mats. Or if I can call it something else, if I can think of a cool way to use them, that's what I'm going to call them and sell them individually. All right, y'all. Wanda, that is so exciting. Congratulations. Wanda's been commissioned to make a quilt from a girl's grandfather's flannel shirts. I am sure she will love her quilt. It sounds very special just when you say from her grandfather's shirts. Those are my favorite kind of quilts. They're my all-time favorite. Candle mats. I like that, Joyce. I like that candle mat. Candle mat, plant mat. All right, y'all. I am gonna go. What am I gonna do? I really should finish recording the t-shirts for this quilt, because then I have to make a plan of how it's all gonna come together. I'd like to do that before Sunday, because Sunday night, my plan or my goal is to start sewing that together. She wants a queen size t-shirt quilt. She has a bunch of shirts, that's for sure. And so I'm pretty sure we're going to make a queen size. And so that'll be a lot of sewing, but that's my plan. Next week, we have 3 different applique blocks to choose from. Yeah. I'll just pull up this picture as we're closing out for today. Wanda's Ladybug is in there. We have the fishy and the dragonfly, and my note with who asked for what is not up here, so off the top of my head I can't remember, but all of those were requested like 2 weeks ago. That's coming up. I don't know which one we're doing next week, so stay tuned. And as always, you'll want to get it while it's free, right? Next weekend. Because I don't mind dropping a pattern in Etsy. Let me tell you something right now. I love y'all so much. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Harlan is going golfing with the kids tomorrow. So it's going to be a quiet day. And I plan on just working through this weekend. I have to. Work to me, though, is this. Isn't this fun?